It is 2 a.m. and I am sitting here in the quiet of my room thinking about the distance between who I thought I would be and who I actually am. When I was 22, I had this burning desire to be the smartest person in every room. And I thought that wealth was something you hunted like a predator. I thought that if I just read enough white papers and stayed up late enough looking at charts, I could find the secret door that everyone else was missing. I felt like I was in a race against an invisible clock, and every day that I was not getting rich felt like a day that I was falling behind. But now that I am 26 and I have managed to cross that first $100,000 milestone, I realize how wrong I was about almost everything. The truth is that building wealth is not about hunting at all. It is about planting and waiting and having the discipline to stay out of your own way while the math does the heavy lifting. I want to talk to you tonight as a friend and a peer because we are living in a time that is designed to make us feel constantly anxious. Every time you open your phone, you see someone claiming to have made $1 million on a meme coin or a high leverage trade. You see the headlines about AI stocks doubling in a week and you feel that itch in the back of your brain that tells you to jump in. I have felt that itch too. I remember a time in 2024 when I bought a high growth tech stock and it went up 30% in 3 days. I walked around feeling like a financial god and I started calculating how many months it would take for me to retire. It was a complete hallucination of competence. The market was just being generous that week, and I was arrogant enough to think it was because of my superior analysis. When that stock eventually came crashing back down to reality, I realized that I had no system and no protection. I was just a gambler who happened to win a hand, and the worst thing that can happen to a gambler is winning early. It gives you the false confidence to bet even bigger right before the house takes it all back. After that experience, I decided to stop trying to be clever and start trying to be logical. I decided to look at the mathematics of wealth as a series of inevitable steps rather than a series of lucky breaks. We need to have a serious conversation about the first $100,000 because it is the hardest part of the entire journey. Charlie Munger used to say that you have to get that first $100,000 even if you have to walk everywhere and eat nothing but beans. He was not joking about the difficulty, but he was also talking about the physics of capital. When you have $0, your money has no power and you have to provide all the energy through your labor. But once you reach $100,000 at a 7% return, your money is earning $7,000 a year just by existing. That is roughly $600 a month that you did not have to work for. It is like having a silent roommate who pays half the rent and never complains. As that number grows, the roommate starts paying for your groceries and then your travel and then your entire life. But getting to that point requires a level of boredom that most people in our generation are simply not prepared for. It means choosing the broad market index fund over the exciting startup. It means ignoring the 2026 volatility and sticking to your biweekly investment plan regardless of what the news says. I stopped looking at my portfolio every day because I realized that the price of a stock is the least important thing about it in the short term. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Most people focus on the noise of the price and they completely miss the signal of the value. I started focusing on businesses that provide the fundamental infrastructure of our world. I look for the companies that own the toll bridges and the data centers and the essential services that people will need 20 years from now. These companies are often boring and they do not make for exciting social media posts, but they produce consistent cash flow and they have the power to compound for decades. I have seen so many of my friends lose their savings trying to catch the next big thing. They want the 10 times return in 6 months because they are tired of the grind. But the math of a 10 times return usually involves a level of risk that has a 90% chance of going to zero. If you lose 50% of your money, you need a 100% gain just to get back to where you started. If you lose 90% of your money, you need a 900% gain just to break even. Most people never recover from those kinds of losses because they lose their capital and their confidence at the same time. I chose the path of the mathematician because I want to win by default. If I invest in the 500 largest companies in the world and I keep my costs near zero, I am mathematically guaranteed to capture the growth of human ingenuity. I do not need to find the next NVIDIA. I already own NVIDIA because it is part of the index. As it grows, it becomes a larger part of my portfolio automatically. The system is designed to reward the patient and punish the hyperactive, but the world we live in is built to keep us hyperactive. The apps on your phone use the same psychological tricks as slot machines to keep you scrolling and trading. They want you to feel the fear of missing out, because that is how they earn their fees. I had to learn how to delete the apps and close the browser. I had to learn that my time is more valuable when it is spent on my health and my relationships rather than watching a green line move up and down. I reached my first $100,000 by being a relentless saver and a disciplined investor. I drove an old car and I lived in a modest apartment even when my salary at the Fortune 500 company started to increase. I did not do this because I am a martyr or because I hate nice things. I did it because I realized that a dollar invested at 25 is worth $10 at 65. Every time I spent $100 on something I did not need, I was actually spending $1,000 of my future freedom. When you start thinking in terms of opportunity cost, the world looks very different. You stop seeing a luxury watch and you start seeing a year of early retirement. You stop seeing a fancy dinner and you start seeing a week of total independence. This mindset is not about being cheap. It is about being aware of the trade-offs you are making every single day. I want us to be the generation that breaks the cycle of consumer debt and financial literacy. We have been handed a world that feels unstable and a market that feels like a casino. But the laws of economics have not changed. Capital still flows to where it is treated best. And capital is treated best when it is placed in productive assets and left alone for long periods of time. I remember the first time I received a dividend check that was large enough to pay for a meal. It was only $20, but it felt more significant than my entire paycheck. It was proof that the machine was working. It was proof that I was no longer just a worker, but an owner. That shift from consumer to owner is the most important transition you will ever make. Owners think in years and decades while consumers think in days and weeks. Owners value assets while consumers value status symbols. I look at the $380 billion cash pile that Berkshire Hathaway is holding in 2026, and I see the ultimate lesson in patience. Warren Buffett is not afraid of missing out on the current rally. He is waiting for the moment when the market panics so that he can buy high-quality businesses at a discount. He is playing a game of decades while everyone else is playing a game of hours. We can apply that same logic to our own lives. We do not need billions of dollars to act like rational owners. We just need the courage to be different from the crowd. The crowd is usually wrong because the crowd is driven by emotion rather than logic. When the crowd is greedy, we should be cautious, and when the crowd is fearful, we should be opportunistic. But mostly, we should just be consistent. The secret to my success so far is simply that I did not stop. I invested when the market was at all-time highs, and I invested when the market was in a drawdown. I ignored the inflation numbers and the geopolitical headlines. I just kept buying my spots and keeping my head down. I am 26 and I am not a millionaire yet, but I know that I am on the path to becoming one. The math says it is inevitable if I just stay disciplined. And that realization brings a level of peace that no luxury purchase could ever provide. I want you to feel that same peace tonight. I want you to stop worrying about whether you are buying the dip or missing the top. Just focus on your savings rate and your asset allocation. Focus on the things you can control and let the market handle the rest. The first $100,000 is a mountain, but once you reach the top, you will realize that the mountain was actually a wall. Once you climb over that wall, you are in a different world where the rules of money work for you instead of against you. I am making these videos because I want to show you how to climb that wall. It is not a secret and it is not a hack. It is just a series of boring decisions made consistently over time. I am going to France this weekend and I am looking forward to the silence of the flight. It will be a good time to reflect on the next $100,000 and the next 5 years. I am not in a rush anymore. I have realized that the journey is the destination and the discipline is the reward. I hope you can find a way to enjoy the process of your own growth. Do not be so focused on the end goal that you forget to live your life today. Just make sure that the life you are living today is building the foundation for the life you want tomorrow. There is a beautiful simplicity in the truth. You do not need a financial advisor to tell you to spend less than you earn. You do not need a guru to tell you that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. You just need to believe the math and act accordingly. I see people arguing on the internet about which stock is going to the moon, and I just smile. I do not care about the moon. I care about the ground beneath my feet and the strength of the assets I hold. In 2026, the noise will only get louder, the AI will get smarter, and the markets will get faster. But your human heart and your human temperament will always be the most important factors in your success. Do not let the machine change who you are. Stay humble, stay curious, and stay incredibly boring with your money. The world will try to convince you that boring is bad, but boring is safe and boring is predictable. And boring is how you win the long game. I have spent the last 4 years proving that to myself, and I will spend the next 40 years proving it to the world. I am glad we could have this conversation tonight. It helps me to speak these truths out loud as much as I hope it helps you to hear them. We are in this together, and we are going to reach our goals. One boring day at a time. I want you to look at your bank statement tomorrow, not with fear, but with a plan. I want you to look at your brokerage account not as a score, but as a garden. Tend to your garden, pull the weeds of high fees and toxic debt, and plant the seeds of consistent index investing. The harvest will come in its own time, and when it does, you will be ready because you built the character to handle it. I am going to close my laptop now and try to get some sleep. Tomorrow is another day to be disciplined and another day to be free. Thank you for listening to my thoughts. It is a privilege to share this journey with you. Remember that the best thing money can buy is the ability to not worry about money. We are working toward that freedom every single day. Stay clear-headed and stay focused. The math never sleeps, and neither does the power of compounding. I will talk to you soon from across the ocean. I want to remind you that $100,000 is just a number, but the person you become to earn it is everything. The discipline you developed will stay with you forever. The habits you built will protect you in the hard times, and the clarity you gained will guide you in the good times. You are doing better than you think you are. Just keep moving forward and do not look back. The past is gone and the future is built in the present moment. Make this moment count. I am proud of the community we are building here. We are the ones who are choosing reality over fantasy. We are the ones who are choosing the long way because we know it is the only way that actually works. The markets will open in a few hours and the world will start shouting again. But you and I will be quiet because we know the truth. We know that the winner is the one who can sit in a room alone and do nothing. That is the ultimate skill in 2026. Master it and you will master your life. Good night and take care of your capital. The journey is long, but the company is good. I will see you when I land in Paris. The flight is long, but the logic is sound. I am grateful for your time and your trust. Let us keep building something that lasts. The world needs more builders and fewer gamblers. Be a builder of your own destiny. The math is on your side. I will talk to you very soon. There is a specific kind of peace that comes when you stop trying to beat the world and start trying to join it. When I stopped trying to pick the winning stock and started buying the whole market, I felt a literal weight lift off my shoulders. I no longer had to worry if I was right or wrong because I was betting on the entirety of human progress. And human progress has a very good track record over the last 200 years. Even with wars and pandemics and economic collapses, the trend line of human productivity goes up and to the right. By owning the index, you are simply tethering your boat to that massive ship. You might get tossed around by the waves in the short term, but you are going to the same destination as the rest of humanity. That destination is one of increased efficiency and technological advancement and economic growth. I do not need to know which specific company will win the AI race. I just know that AI will change the world and that the winners will eventually end up in my index fund. This is what I mean by the boring truth. It is not flashy, but it is robust. I have seen people try to use leverage to speed up the process, and I have seen them get wiped out in a single afternoon. Leverage is a dangerous tool that can turn a small mistake into a total disaster. I avoid it because I do not need it. Time is my leverage, patience is my edge. And the first $100,000 is my foundation. I hope you can build your own foundation with the same care and the same attention to detail. Do not rush the process. The years will pass anyway, so you might as well spend them building something meaningful. I am 26 and I have so much left to learn, but I know that I have found the right path. I hope you find yours too. It might not be the same as mine, but it should be based on the same principles of truth and logic. I will be here to share what I find as I move forward. Thank you for being part of this long night and this long conversation. I appreciate you more than you know. Stay safe out there in the 2026 markets, and remember that your greatest asset is not your money, but your mind. Keep it sharp and keep it clean. I will talk to you again very soon. The world is waiting for us to show them what a disciplined generation can do. Let us not disappoint them. I am signing off now. Peace. If we really sit down and crunch the numbers, we see that the difference between the wealthy and the poor is often just a matter of time frames. Poor people think in days. Middle-class people think in months. The wealthy think in decades. I chose to change my unit of time. When I look at my 401k or my brokerage account, I do not see the money for my 27th year. I see the security for my 60th year. That perspective makes it very easy to ignore the temporary fluctuations. Imagine you are building a cathedral. You do not get upset if it rains for a week and you cannot lay any bricks. You know that the cathedral will take 50 years to finish. The rain is just a tiny part of the timeline. Our financial lives are our cathedrals. We are laying the bricks of savings and the mortar of compounding. Some weeks the market will rain on us. Some years the economy will feel cold. But as long as we keep the blueprint in our hands, we will eventually see the spires reach the sky. I want to help you hold on to your blueprint. The world will try to rip it out of your hands and give you a lottery ticket instead. Tear up the lottery ticket, keep the blueprint. The blueprints of the wealthy are all remarkably similar. They involve low-cost, broad diversification and an extreme amount of patience. I used to think that the wealthy had secret access to high-performance hedge funds. Then I found out that most hedge funds fail to beat the S&P 500 after fees are taken out. The secret is that there is no secret. The elite are just better at doing the boring things for longer than anyone else. I want us to be better at being boring. I want us to be the ones who stay in the game when everyone else has quit. The game of compounding is a game of attrition. Most people drop out because they get bored or they get scared. If you can just stay in your seat, you will eventually be at the front of the line. I reached $100,000 because I stayed in my seat when the 2022 crash happened. I stayed in my seat when the 2024 tech bubble felt like it was popping, and I am staying in my seat right now in 2026. It is not a heroic act. It is just a mathematical decision. I want you to make that same decision for yourself. Decide that you are not a leaf in the wind. Decide that you are the wind itself. Decide that you will not be moved by the opinions of people who are not going where you are going. Your journey is unique, but the math that powers it is universal. Let that universal truth be your anchor. I am looking at the clock and it is almost 3 a.m. The world is asleep, but we are awake and we are growing. This is where the real work happens, in the quiet moments when nobody is watching. In the small decisions that nobody will ever applaud. I applaud you for being here. I applaud you for caring enough about your future to listen to a 26-year-old talk about math in the middle of the night. We are the architects of our own lives. Let us build something magnificent. I am really going to sleep. Now the pilot will be calling for boarding soon, and I need to be ready. I will carry your energy with me to Paris. Take care of yourselves and take care of your dreams. The math is watching, and the math is kind to those who respect it. Good night, my friends, until we speak again. Peace. One final thought before I go. Do not let the pursuit of money steal your soul. Money is a tool for freedom, not a goal in itself. If you are wealthy but you are lonely or stressed or unkind, then you have failed. Build your wealth so that you can be more of who you already are. If you are a good person, money will allow you to be even better. Use your capital to buy your time, and then use your time to make the world a better place. That is the true meaning of financial freedom. It is the freedom to be useful. It is the freedom to be present. It is the freedom to be you. That is what I am working for. That is what I hope you are working for too. The $100,000 is just a milestone on the way to that ultimate destination. See you on the other side. Bye for now.